The people of the motherland have come. Unfortunately, I am Superman of Doomsday Chapter 41. Dragon Ball City, on Kunlun Mountain. A magnificent base building towering into the clouds sits atop a hill. At this time, a group of professional white-collar women wearing entourage uniforms and intellectual beauty, or politicians in suits and shoes, with high authority and imposing power, or officers wearing badge military uniforms with a sharp atmosphere, were nervously surrounding a young woman sitting cross-knee on the crystal floor. Long red hair blooms like a rose on the crystal floor. Under their shocked gaze, the red-haired woman's body and the white robe she was wearing were transforming into a diamond texture at an extremely fast pace, like a handicraft. How so? This is the Dragon Girl's self-defensive state. Representing her, something very dangerous has happened. It's her telepathic awareness. This has never happened. Check it out. Quote. The scene was so overwhelming that no one was able to maintain enough composure. Everyone knows very well that once something happens to the guardian saint of the Eastern jurisdiction, then things will happen. Also, this world is about to completely usher in the signs of the times of collapse. Yi Meng only felt that he had an indescribable dream. A really good dream. This beautiful dream made his will to destroy due to the incarnation of Doomsday vent most of it, fluttering lightly. It's time to wake up. Yi Meng thought like this, and the ambiguity between dream and reality came, and he felt that he would open his eyes in reality in the next second. The next moment, Yi Meng opened his eyes, his body naturally sat up straight, and his feet smoothly and naturally stood up from the hospital bed. What catches you is the familiar daylight ceiling and the spacious, empty isolated rooms that are no different from last week. There was also a pungent smell of disinfectant water in the air. The corners of Yi Meng's eyes twitched slightly. He was again treated as an invasion and contained. No, not as if it were taken as, he was indeed invaded, assimilated by the invasion of the Doomsday avatar of his dreams. Yi Meng looked down and saw that his right arm was obviously covered with a grey exoskeleton that resembled Doomsday. And the muscular surface from the shoulder was connected to the phalanges on the back of his right hand, like an arm guard. Not only that, Yi Meng tried to shake the 5 fingers of his right hand, and he could feel that it contained a power far beyond his own. And he had the urge to punch the wall of the isolated single room. A tyrannical and uncontrollable red flashed under the right eye, and an absolutely rational silver glow appeared deep in the left eye. Nope. Yi Meng gritted his teeth, his left hand tightly gripped the right wrist covered with the exoskeleton. But he saw that the back of his left hand also began to glow with a thin layer of bone-white texture. Eamon's pupils contracted suddenly, even if you wake up from a dream. At this moment when consciousness returns to the real world, the Doomsday avatar in DC dream is still invading and assimilating his essence. Whether it is the will of destruction or the power of destruction. Yi Meng estimated that if he continued like this, even if he did not continue to dream, reality itself would be completely reduced to a runaway day of destruction in less than a week. The moment you touch Doomsday, there is no turning back. Yi Meng clenched his fists to death. Either become a Doomsday monster or become Doomsday Superman, there is only one way. 0047 The Scary Real World. Either become a Doomsday monster or Doomsday Superman. This is really, there is no turning back. Yi Meng sighed secretly. He noticed that the mobile phone on his body had been taken away, and his thoughts flowed outward. And he could see the situation outside through the wall of the isolation room. Empty. Also, the reality is now 4 o'clock in the morning, and perhaps there are just people guarding the main monitoring room. Fortunately, the first time Yi Meng woke up, he covered the built-in camera in the isolated room with his thoughts, and could tamper with the surveillance screen at any time. Yi Meng's eyes flashed with a shimmer. He must know what happened in the real world during the time he was in a coma. As well as the attitude and opinion of the Star Dragon Federation and the Supernatural Department towards themselves. This will also directly determine what Yi Meng will do next. Come to think of it. A wisp of conscious thinking under the characteristics of Yi Meng's artificial intelligence is like a virtual red static electricity bursting out from the eyebrows. Submerged into the isolation room through the wall, and stayed on a computer that records data operations. This is the artificial intelligence feature he obtained before, which can analyze and maintain scientific and technological electronic products within a 10-meter range. Borrow some of their functions and improve information data. The moment Eamon's mind flowed, the moment he maintained the computer inside this supernatural department, he quickly found the most important invasion file here. The invasion file currently listed in the first place in the branch database is Invasion Archives, Alien Ship. Intrusion category, non-stationary objects. Intrusion number, SAS 1700. Casualties have been caused, 609 dead, 1055 wounded. Invasion level, rated as B, Annihilation Crisis. About intrusion reports. It happened in the year 200 of the Star Dragon era, on the day of the Federal College entrance examination, and fell into the Tianhe City No. 2 Middle School Examination Center campus. The spacecraft fell out of control, taking the lead in causing the first casualties at the scene. Then, A large number of aliens, identified as C-class invasive creatures, and face-hugging insects, identified as D-class invasive creatures, entered the campus inside the spacecraft, resulting in the second batch of casualties at the scene. The alien spawning of the face-hugging worm parasitizing the survivors' bodies led to the third batch of casualties. The invasion has been initially controlled. Yi Meng nodded secretly. The efficiency of the Star Dragon Federation in handling the invasion incident is still good, and the alien invasion incident was controlled on the same day. Of course. If he had destroyed the biochemical weapons Blackwater and the alien large lair in advance, and also revealed the information about the alien and the face-hugging insect through Panhu, the Star Dragon Federation would not be able to deal with the follow-up to the alien incident in time. Yi Meng felt that the real world was directly destroyed, and there was no need to continue to struggle and resist. Ultimately, the invasion of aliens is not difficult to deal with, as long as this creature is not given the time and opportunity to evolve through reproduction. A well-armed elite army is enough to sweep through. B-level invasion creation event, C-level invasive creature. Yi Meng muttered. He also understood now that the supernatural department of the Star Dragon Federation divided the rules for the risk factor of the previous live film and television invasion creation. The possibility of injury to a federal citizen is the lowest class G risk factor. If it may result in the death of a federal citizen, it will be raised to a risk factor of F. By the hazard to federal citizens, and so on to the risk factor. It may result in multiple casualties among federal citizens, and if it is less than 100, it is Class E. Can lead to a large number of deaths of federal citizens, less than 1,000 people, Class D. The crisis of exterminating the village, which may lead to at least 10,000 deaths, is Class C. The town-destroying crisis, which could lead to at least 100,000 deaths, Class B. The crisis of annihilation, which may result in at least 1 million deaths, Class A. The state-destroying crisis, which could lead to at least tens of millions of deaths, S-Class. The extinction crisis, which could lead to at least 100 million deaths, SS level. A global crisis that may lead to the death of all mankind, with a ceiling of 5 billion, X-level danger. According to this division rule, judging the alien as a Class C risk factor, Yi Meng still agreed with it in his heart. After the death of the alien queen, each alien may become the alien queen in order to develop a lair, which is enough to endanger the destruction of a village's citizens. It's just that, in his opinion, it would be wrong to identify the alien spacecraft as B-class. On the alien spaceship, the most terrifying thing is not the alien, nor the alien queen, but the biochemical virus Blackwater. Therefore, the alien spacecraft should actually be rated as X-class, which is a global crisis that may lead to the death of all mankind. Amons quickly turned to his invasion file. Well, tentatively judged as Class E hazard factor. E-class, lower risk factor than an adult alien and face-hugging worm. This made Yi Meng, who was in the state of assimilation of the Day of Doom, unconfident. Who to look down on for this? If only he really had an E-level hazard factor. Yi Meng smiled dumbly, but also knew that the federal and supernatural departments did not understand their current situation. Otherwise, at least it is also an SS-level crisis of extinction. Yi Meng is now out of control and even afraid of himself. In addition to the recent alien incident and his own invasion file, Yi Meng also found some invasion file information that triggered his past life memories in this branch computer database. First chapter previous chapter 41 140th,